All right, we're just going to give it a few minutes for everyone to join in. Thank you so much for tuning in to Uncommon Women. Can you say live over there on Instagram? Go ahead, Instagram. Why you look nervous?
You'll be all right.
Okay.
I mean,
I told you I don't do lives. No? You still do?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta start somewhere.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
True. That's true. That's true. So, do you know if people are on there?
Yeah, so right now we are on Instagram live on our page, and then I'm live on mine as well.
Let's see, how do you know if people are tuning in?
So up top, do you see the numbers?
Oh, we see live?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
And then you'll be able to see when people start joining in.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for tuning in to Uncommon Women. I'm Shanera.
And I'm Jenny Lee.
And today we actually are, the month of March, we're going to be speaking on business. We want to enlighten people in regards to how to start your own business if you're looking into investing and starting your own business. Today we have a guest speaker. She actually has a nonprofit organization, so that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Jenny, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about our guest speaker?
Bongai Mhloyi, also known as Miss B, born and raised in Zimbabwe. Bongai and her husband came to the U.S. to attend college. Only as a child, she always had a compassion for people. She has been working as a social worker for over 20 years. She also started a nonprofit organization, the American and African Youth Leadership Foundation, in 2010.
Yes, definitely.
2010, and we're in 2020, so 10 years of doing your nonprofit.
Yes,
That's
this
awesome.
is our 10th year anniversary, so I'm
Yeah,
happy
that's
about
awesome.
that and feel blessed.
You feel blessed? That's good.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself before we actually go into your organization.
Okay, like Jenny said when she was introducing me, I'm Bongai Mhloyi, born and raised in Zimbabwe, and I came to this country with my husband in 1985. And the idea was for us to go to school and get our education and go back home.
Okay.
But this is 2020, we are still here.
Change of plans.
Change of plans, yeah. So I went to school for social work. My husband did something else, but I've been in this country since 1985, but I never forgot like how I grew up in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
And
how was it growing up?
It was. I'm number 4 of 12 kids. My mom had 13 kids. Well, yeah, 13 kids. So we grew up 8 girls and 3 boys.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but we were fine. My family, we were fine. But the rest of the community where I grew up, a lot of people were struggling.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't. With me, I was fortunate enough that my dad was working and my mom was also doing stuff.
Okay.
So we were not struggling as much.
Oh,
but
okay.
I grew up seeing people struggling, young girls my age. Even if you have a dream, like when you grow up, what you want to do, a lot of girls' dreams were not coming true. So, but I was fortunate enough even to come to this country. A lot of people consider that a lucky person to be able to come to this country, which is a country of opportunities. You come here, you get an opportunity to go to school, to do whatever you want to do, and you can voice your opinion, you can say whatever you want to say, which is not the same growing up.
And wash your hands because we got a virus going around.
Yes. So to go more into my family, I have 2 grown sons. He moved back in Zimbabwe, but the other one lives here. I'm a grandmother of 4, and being a mom and a grandmom is like something that I can't even explain, but running a non-profit organization, that's like my passion. I cannot even imagine myself doing something else. So helping people, especially girls, that's my passion, and that's what I'm doing with my non-profit organization. And it's called American and African Youth Leadership Foundation because I work with girls here in America, and I also work with girls in Zimbabwe, which
Okay.
is Africa. So that's why I came up with the name American and African Youth Leadership Foundation.
And what made you start the company? Is it just for girls? Like, what was the key point of starting a nonprofit for girls only?
I
With you having
started
boys.
that. I do have boys, and I kind of focused on girls because of what I remembered growing up in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
In Zimbabwe, in a lot of African countries, a lot of families, fathers, families, the girls are like second to the boys. Boys are always first.
What?
And if a family, let's say, I will use my family as an example.
Okay.
My dad had we were 12, 8 girls and three boys.
Mm-hmm.
So if he didn't have enough money to send all of us to school, he will give first preference to the boys before he sends the
Even if
girls
the
to
girls are
school.
smarter than the
And
boys.
that's
Oh,
most of the
wow.
time that's the case. So
Wow.
I
All the
remember
time,
that.
that
I
is the
remember
case.
that. Yes, that's the
No.
case. But girls are always, and what I like about investing in girls is that if you invest in a girl, you are helping like a whole generation.
Right.
She's going to help her
Oh.
kids. She's going to help her
Yep.
grandkids. She's going to help the whole
Yep.
community.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
the versus boys, if you help a boy, it's just him, and that's where it ends. Most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, it ends right there. So my mind was just thinking about girls, and I'm a girl also. But I just remembered how I grew up. And when I came to this country, I was taken by my husband and I. We stayed with this family who hosted us in their house. And I'll never forget what the lady said to me after we finished our school. I just said, for you being our host, because she was like a mother to me. And I said, how can I ever thank you for what you did for us? And she said, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to give me anything. Just help somebody else that you are not related to, or somebody else who might be in your same situation when you came here. Because to be honest, it was really difficult. We didn't know anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And you can imagine yourself, you are in a foreign country, you don't know anyone, you don't know where anything
Right.
is, you don't know where to go to get something.
Yeah.
So they helped us a lot, and they didn't know us, and we didn't know them.
That's
So
awesome.
that
Yeah.
resonated, that stayed with me. And when she said that to me, she just, opened the whole, bunch
doors,
of
too.
opportunities
Yeah.
for me.
That was
And I
amazing.
said, oh, okay. Okay. So that's why I kind of help the girls that I help. I don't know them. Most of them, I don't know them.
Mm-hmm.
And they are vulnerable. They are not as fortunate as I was when I
Mhm.
was growing up.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to help those, vulnerable girls, because a lot of them, they have dreams, but they cannot continue with education due to poverty. Most of the time it's poverty, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And girls, they end up being in these situations where it's not a good situation. For example, if it's a poor family and they have 3 boys and maybe 2 girls, the boys will be going, the father will do whatever it takes to send the boy to school, but the girls will be home. And most of the time, they will force the girl to be married. They could be 15, they could be 14. They will force them to get married. One that makes the family less, because now one girl is married, she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So the father is no longer responsible for this girl. But the
Oh,
girl who is
wow.
getting, she's the child herself, and most of the time she doesn't even know the person that she's getting married to. She
Oh.
doesn't
So
love
they-
him. So
What?
yeah,
So it's like what, arranged? Like arranged
It's an
marriage?
arranged marriage.
sort of, yeah.
Okay.
But most of the time, the families that do that, they're like poor families who
Mhm.
don't have
Oh,
much.
okay.
So, they are doing that not because they want to, but it's like they do that due to poverty, okay, due to
Okay,
hunger,
that's
due to
understandable.
poverty, yeah. And the girl sometimes she'll be like, okay, maybe if I go to this guy's house, I'll be eating every day. So she will
Wow.
go with the flow just because she's poor.
Oh.
So that kind of situation, it makes the girls vulnerable. It makes, it's just like the cycle of poverty doesn't end, because they are married at young age. They don't even know what they're doing. And they are marrying these old guys that probably have money. That's why their fathers are sending them to these guys. So it just makes everything, her life, miserable for the rest of her life. No chance, nothing, just because she's a girl.
Oh.
Yeah.
So with you starting this company, how does that help the people back in Africa that you
So
help?
it helps the people that, in Africa, Zimbabwe mostly, but most of African countries, they go through the same thing. So the way my organization helps is I work with people over there who help me select the most vulnerable kids in the communities where they live at. So we will select those kids that we know they don't have parents. Maybe most of them are orphans, and they are vulnerable, and most of them they take on the role of being a mother at a very young age, and so they are struggling trying to keep the family together. So they take those kids, they make a list of them. So that's the criteria. You have to be an orphan, you have to be able to go to school, you have to like to go to school. That's how you become part of the American and African Youth Leadership Foundation.
Okay.
That's the biggest criteria that I go, but I have people there that help me select select the vulnerable kids. Because there are some other people that are, rich people, they are able to send their kids to school, but I focus on the most vulnerable people from the poor communities.
And the orphans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what was the first steps of actually building your organization? Because you've been doing it for 10 years, so I'm sure you're a pro at it now. But
I'm
when
not
you
a
first
pro,
began-
but
She's not a pro.
I'm not
well,
a pro.
advanced maybe.
I mean, you're on a
But,
high
you know,
level.
I'm not
Right,
a high level, but
right.
I know a lot now. And
So how did
when
you
I
get
look
started?
back, I wish I had known then what I know now. Yeah, I would have avoided a lot of mistakes that I made. I made a lot of mistakes. And, if anybody out there is trying to start a non-profit organization, I think the first thing that you need to know if you are thinking to start a non-profit organization, you have to know yourself. Know yourself, know what you want, know why you are doing it. Because sometimes you might go into it thinking, some people do it for ego purposes. Maybe somebody told them before that, oh, you are no good, you cannot do this.
Right.
Then they want to do that
To show
in
them.
order to prove to those
Oh my
people
goodness.
that, okay, I can do this. But if I didn't go into that, because of my ego, but I really wanted to help the people that are back home and also the people that are here, because I also teach etiquette. So most of the time when I do my programs in Coatesville, Chester County, I'm teaching etiquette to the girls that I work with, but they're also from, the underserved communities here. But you have to know yourself. You have to know why you are doing it. You have to know who you are going to help and how.
Okay.
That's the first thing.
Steps.
Yeah. So I have like steps that I, kind of wrote down so that I'll make sure that I will touch on everything so that people, if somebody's thinking to start a nonprofit out there, they will know. So what are your values? You have to have a value, because not all nonprofits, how can I say it? You have, if you don't know what you value more, then you are not going to be successful. You have to know what you value, know yourself, know your beliefs.
Okay.
That's the first thing. And then know your why. Why are you doing this? What are your reasons for doing the nonprofit? For me, my reason was I wanted to help these girls. Yeah, it's my passion. And I knew this when I was a very young, girl. It was just in me for me to be able to, I knew that I wanted to help people. So it didn't take long for me to know, but sometimes it takes longer for people to figure out what they want. But the way I'll tell people, for you to know if this is your passion, you will be like, every time you are thinking about it. For example, with my mission, every time I go to sleep, daytime I'll be daydreaming about helping girls that are vulnerable. Nighttime, if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm thinking about it. So it doesn't leave you, it stays with you. So you are constantly thinking about it. So if you are like that, okay, this is my passion. But if you forget about it, then you'll be like, okay, maybe that's not my passion. You have to figure out what,
Figure out what works
yeah,
for you.
figure out something else. Yeah. And the other thing that people need to know is that just because I'm passionate about helping girls, it doesn't mean that everybody I am going to tell my mission is going to be passionate about my mission. Because I would say this, like when I started my nonprofit, I'm so every time I talk about my girls, people can see that I'm passionate about it and I enjoy talking about it. But I will assume that just because I'm so passionate, if I come and tell, hey, Shanera, guess what? I'm going to start a non-profit organization that's going to help girls. Though I shouldn't assume that you are going to say, "Oh, that's great," I'll be
Right,
with
right.
you, because my
Some people don't
my
support
vision is
everything.
not
Right.
your vision, and my passion is not everybody's passion. So when you are starting it, you also have to know that just because you are excited about it, everybody's not going to be excited about it. That's another thing. And then the other thing that I learned as I went on with my organization is collaboration. When I first thought about it, I would like, okay, and people would tell me, oh, don't tell everybody your mission or your plans or what you are trying to do. People steal your ideas. Then I'm like, oh, okay. But to be honest, you need to collaborate with other people. You need to be able to work with other organizations that think the same way you think,
Okay.
that also have the same passion about, same passion that you have. Because, my mission is my mission, and the way I do, it's like a lot of people that are helping girls out there, but the way I will help my girls is different from the
Different
way
from somebody else.
yeah. So sometimes if you tell me that don't collaborate because people will steal your ideas, they can steal the idea, but they can never
It's not going to be
steal.
you. Right.
Yeah.
It's not going to be yours.
Yeah, mine is mine. It's like chicken soup. Everybody can make chicken soup, but you can make it different. I
Right.
can make it different, but it's still chicken soup.
That's
But
right.
what ingredients you put in it, that's what makes yours different.
Like the
So-
podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know about the
Yeah.
other podcasts out there, but this
Right,
is what
but
we do.
yours is going to
Exactly.
be different because of you, the way you do it.
Right.
So if you are starting a non-profit, don't be afraid to collaborate with other people. You are going to need those other people because you can't be, an expert on everything.
Yes.
So you just need to talk to other people, and you need to, because you are also going to start your board of directors. So that's how you collaborate with people. You need to have people that are good in different professionals.
Okay.
Because you can't be a lawyer, you can't be an accountant, you can't be this, you can't be
Can't
that.
be everything.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody will bring something good
piece.
for
Okay.
whatever piece they bring is going to be good for your
It's like
organization.
putting a puzzle together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So sometimes people can get afraid to work with other people, but don't be afraid to work with other people. It's actually good to work with other people. Just have your own niche, know your niche, what makes yours different, and then just do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
And
sense.
also there's this statement that says it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a village to run a non-profit organization. Okay. Because like I'm saying, it's like the same as collaboration. You can't do it by yourself. So you need to collaborate with other people. You need to know other organizations out there that are doing the same thing. You need to know the organizations that can help with what you do.
Right.
It could be like fundraising. You
Like
need to know
resources they might have as well to help you.
Yeah.
That
You
makes
need to know
sense.
different people with different resources. Even with the programs that I do, for example, the 8K that I teach for the girls in Coatesville, I can collaborate with someone who also works with girls or young people, but maybe they will bring something that I don't teach the girls. So they can also bring something good to the organization. And I can also take I can take my etiquette to a different group that's not mine. So I'm collaborating with other people. So it's always good to collaborate with other people. And you also need to find, sometimes you try, and then people keep saying no. Let's say you are trying to ask for donations or yeah. So you'll be going to this company, because what I thought when I started my non-profit organization, okay, this is a non-profit organization. I can go to this company, can go to the store and say, look, I'm trying to help girls here. So help me with money, help me with funds to do these programs. And I was assuming that just because it's a non-profit, people will be like, okay, here's a check for $1,000, here's a check for $2,000. No.
It don't work like that?
No, it doesn't work.
Oh, man.
But although you get a lot of no's, don't stop.
Right.
Don't stop, because you don't. If it's really your passion, you can't give up. You just have to continue working on it, and the longer you work on it, the more people are going to be, oh, okay, this is something good. And if you get one person to say yes, you can also use that person. Let's say I go to 20 different companies looking for donations for funds to run my organization, and 9 say no, and maybe 1 will say yes. So take advantage of that one that says yes, and then you can use them and say, not use them in a bad way, but say, for example, I can say, okay, Walmart sponsored my
like promote
organization.
them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then people start saying, oh, okay, Walmart sponsored them, so that, that if Walmart sponsors them,
Maybe
that
they
must
can
be a
sponsor
good,
someone. Right.
that must be a good organization to sponsor. So just because you got the first 10, 15 no's, don't stop. Just keep on going, because you're going to get that other person who is going to say no, yes, and then you just go on from there and you continue on. But you just have to keep working on it and working on it and working on it. And sometimes it's also good because when you're starting, you don't have a lot of money. You're a non-profit
Right.
organization, but you still have to use some of, like when I started mine, I used a lot of my money.
Your own money to start your
Yes,
business? Okay.
yes. So actually, but you write them down as a loan that you are loaning to the organization.
Okay.
So my organization
So you're like
actually owes,
sponsoring yourself at first
yes,
until you
yeah, you
okay.
write that down to keep your books straight.
Okay.
But I'm using money from my own pocket, but I'm sponsoring
your own company.
to
Okay.
keep it going, because you need to do programs, you need to do whatever you need to do. So you just have to know that it's an organization, but you need to use some of your money. But you also, with some things that you have to do for the organization, you might need to hire people that will help you, people that you pay. Don't always say, can you do this for me for free? Can you do me a favor? Can you do that?
Right.
Sometimes you just need to pay someone to get
to get it started.
to get it started. So don't be afraid, and don't think because it's a non-profit organization, people are just going to be pouring money to your organization. No, it's not going to be
don't
like
work like
that.
that.
And one thing that I really want to let people know is, when you start a non-profit organization and it's really your passion, you need to be committed to it. It's a commitment, because you are going to work very hard for it. You are going to work many hours, because you are doing a lot of things yourself, because like I said again, you don't have the money coming in yet. So most of the things, like when I started mine, I was everything. I was the secretary. I was everything, everything. Even my website, I started my own website, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I had to learn. I made a lot of mistakes, but it took a long time and a lot of trials to do, things that, 10 years later, I'm at a point where I'm okay with it, but I'm still learning. I'm not even done yet.
And
I'm still
technology
learning.
changes and all that.
Yeah. I'm still trying to be on Facebook Live, 10 years later. So you just have to know that it's a commitment. You will work overtime. You will be doing all the administration stuff and all kinds of stuff. It's a lot of work. So if you are not ready to do the work, it's not going to happen. You just have to be prepared to do the work and be consistent with it. But if it's your passion, it just comes naturally. Like for me, a lot of people say, oh, you're so busy, how do you do this? But I don't really see, that I'm working that hard, because it's really my passion. I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
Right.
So it's like I'm having fun with it. So I'm not really complaining that I'm working too hard, but
because you like it.
I like it. I enjoy it. Yeah. So I wish somebody had told me these few things that are very important, but I haven't even got to a point where you have to like do your applications and stuff. But I would have appreciated if somebody had told me that, okay, before you start, you have to know this, you have to know that, you have to know that, you have to know that. Yeah. So, but anyway, I went through it and I got it going, and it's still going. And I have, few people that are supporting my mission, supporting my vision, which is a good thing, because people are believing in what I'm doing, and they see what I'm doing that is beneficial to the community, to the families, to the individuals. So they like it, and people are, finding ways of supporting it. But before I got to that, for the people that are trying to start the non-profit organization, after you went through all these, after you processed everything, you got everything, you got your names out there, you got your mission statement, because you have to find a mission
So
statement.
what's the missions? So you have to have. All right. So for what sources do you actually need to start the nonprofit? You have to have your name.
You have to have
And
the
what's the
name.
mission statement for?
The mission statement is what tells people what you are doing and for who.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you are doing the application package together, the one you will send to the IRS,
Okay.
it's like a whole package that you have to do.
Okay.
But you have to have your name first before after you put your name down. You have to send it to the state of whatever state you live in,
Okay.
just to make sure that nobody operates under that same name.
Okay.
And then
like the GoDaddy or something like that. Would it be the same thing as like a LLC? To make
yeah,
sure?
it's the same way. Yeah.
Okay.
So that to make sure that nobody's operating under
Using
that.
it.
Yeah. And then once you get confirmation that you can use that name, and then you have to write. But I will suggest, I didn't do it myself because it's a lot of work, and I won't even suggest that somebody does that by themselves, to complete the whole package by themselves.
Okay.
You just have to find somebody who can do it for you, unless you are a lawyer,
You
or
recommend
maybe
a
you
lawyer.
work for the IRS, so
Okay.
that, because you have to send to the IRS, department. But unless you work there, because you know what they look for, then you can do it yourself.
Or a lawyer.
If you're a lawyer,
So get
yeah.
a lawyer.
Yeah, yeah. But what I did, I went with an organization that does that. That helps
okay.
non-profit. Yeah, I ended, like I said earlier, that some stuff I was paying myself. So I paid this organization, this company that does that. That's all they do, helping non-profit organizations
Okay.
start there. So they've completed the whole, but I'll give them the information, of course, because they don't
Okay.
know my mission, they don't know my
Right.
passion, my vision, and all that, my goals and all that. So you'll be giving them that, but they will write it down
They'll put
for
everything
you.
in where it needs
Yeah,
to
they
go.
will write your
Okay.
articles of incorporation, they will write your bylaws. So because I didn't even know where to start with that, and
Okay.
it's a long process. You have to do it right, because if you do it wrong, we send it to the IRS. If they find one thing wrong, they send it
They
back
reject
to you.
it.
They reject it. You have to do it over again. So it's always good to just find somebody who knows how to do it and let them do it. Pay them. I think way back then, 2010, I think I paid 1,500
Okay.
to get somebody to do it. And they will ask you like what, because you have to do financial projections, like a 1 to 3 year financial projection, and the
okay.
budgets and
Like
stuff,
a proposal.
something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because they will ask you like, okay, what do you see, where do you see yourself from this year, 3 years
Versus
from
3
now?
years.
Yeah. So you have to know all that so that you can give them the information.
Wow.
And they will say, okay, do you expect to, because they'll also ask you like, how do you expect to get funding for this
Okay.
organization to fulfill your mission? Then you tell them if it's fundraising, if you are going to get grants or whatever
Okay.
it is, you tell them that, and then they put that on the application for you.
Okay.
But don't do it yourself. Just get someone to do it for you. It's a lot of organizations out there who help.
That will help you.
Yeah.
Do you know any off the top of your head?
The one I went with in 2010 was called Charity Net.
Okay.
I don't even know if they are still called that. Maybe they changed their name, but I think they are still there. I would
Okay.
check, but I think they are still there. But that's who I went with. And there was another organization also, but I just went with Charity Net. Yeah, but they did everything for me. They did my articles of incorporation. They did my bylaws. The bylaws, they will ask you, but they will help you, complete them, because the bylaws are it's like what governs your non-profit organization. It's like the constitution, the rules of how you are going to run your non-profit organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just have to make sure that you do that right. So that's why it's important to hire someone to do that for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So,
Yeah.
what are some do's and don'ts that you've learned with starting your nonprofit organization?
They are quite. I did a
Just
lot
a
of
few.
things wrong.
Just a few. We didn't
I did a lot of things wrong, but thank God I didn't repeat the same mistakes, over again. One that comes to my mind, right now is a 501c3. You are tax exempt. You are an organization that helps people, because 501c3 could be education, it could be religious, it could be something to help communities, whatever.
Okay.
So mine helps, the people that I help. But as a 501c3, you are not supposed to be, how can I word that I can use? You are not supposed to be sponsoring or endorsing anything political.
Okay.
So I didn't know
wow.
this. Yeah.
Ah.
Nothing
I
political.
cannot say, let's say I know that you are running for mayor of Reading, and then I'll put at my office window to say vote for Chanel.
Such and such. You can't do that with
No,
nonprofit.
you
Nothing.
cannot, because that's political.
Okay.
So I didn't know that. And then a friend of mine was running for some office in Chester County. So they had, the signs they put at the windows or on the street, vote for so and so for whatever, whatever. So I put that on. I had like a big window at my office, put that there, put signs everywhere. Thank God, one of the people that I know from that area, he passed by and he saw the sign on the window, and he came in and said, are you a 501c3? He knew I was. But he knew I was. But he said, what are you doing with that sign on the window? Then I'm like, what's wrong with that? It's my friend who is running for this
I'm
thing.
representing.
Yeah. He said, oh, no. And sure enough, I went back because I had a book. I had so much resources that I can go to. So I read, because it's like a lot of stuff that you have to read and to educate yourself.
Right.
So I went back and I read, and sure enough, you cannot do that. You cannot do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so no political stuff for nonprofit.
No political stuff. That's one.
Oh, because you don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, because,
Right.
because yeah. And then you have to have your paperwork straight. Like the first year, the other thing was the first year, I thought when I was doing my taxes, somebody was doing I'm not a CPA or anything. So I asked someone to do my taxes. So they did for me. And I thought the more I put on paper, the better I will look, because I thought, okay, if I said I made like $25,000 or something, they'll be like, okay, she's doing good as a non-profit organization.
Okay.
But not knowing that you really have to.
You gotta show.
Yes.
You gotta show
So
where
that's
the
another.
money's going from.
Yeah,
too, right?
yeah. But it was just the first year, and that was, that was for that year, and that was done. But when you start when I did that charity net, they will ask you like, how much are you expecting to get in fundraising, whatever your sources that you are getting your money from. So if you are $50,000 or less, when you pay for the IRS, it's like a different amount.
Okay.
Or if you expect to get maybe $100,000 or maybe $50,000 to $200,000, you also pay a different amount. So at first I said, okay, I didn't want to limit myself. So I said, I'm gonna make $200,000, not even knowing where I was gonna get the $200,000 from.
So you have to say how much you're gonna make.
Yeah, that's when you do that
How does that
financial projection.
Okay.
You have to write down that, okay, I will do fundraisings, so many fundraisings a year, which will give me this much.
Okay.
And I will, because mine is for helping kids with scholarships and stuff, I will pay this much to scholarship, and I'll be left with this much, whatever. So you have to do that.
Okay, so you have to break everything down. Like, this is how much I'm expecting to make, and this is what's going to go to this. This is what's going to go to that.
Yes.
Okay.
For example, in my case, I will use the etiquette classes that I do in Chester County. So I will say I will have a class of 20 girls in my class. It takes one girl, costs her for her to attend the class, it costs this much. So for 20 girls, it's going to be this much. So I'm going to do fundraising, I'll do bake sales, I'll do whatever it is to come up with this, or ask for donations from people, whatever. You just have to put all that down.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was another mistake that I made, but I learned as I go. So you just keep learning and you keep learning and you keep learning.
Okay. And what sources do you need besides sponsors for the nonprofit? Or is it just the accounting that you need?
Yeah, sometimes you can get monetary donations, which is going to come for if you apply for grants, or if you get mine comes mostly from individual donations.
So you can get grants too.
I can apply for grant. I don't know how to write a grant, but I can get somebody on my board who can write grants.
Okay.
Then they can write, like right now I have someone, but this is the first year we ever had someone on my
On your
team
team?
who can write grants. So I'm hoping that we can apply for grants and get grants. But before that, I was just operating by individual donors
Okay.
and doing fundraising events to run the programs.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So you can do individual donations. You can do. Sometimes you can also apply for. I applied for a grant from the Rotary Club before, and I got like $1,500, which was enough for that year for
Okay.
me to run what I wanted to do for the girls. So that was
Now,
my
if you
sources.
already get a grant, do you have to reapply every year?
You can
or is there
reapply.
some-
Yeah, you
Okay.
can. Some companies you can apply every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
And
there
if-
any grants that you can only get once typically, or is it?
That one I'm not familiar with
Okay.
any one that you can apply just one time. Maybe like this is just like a guess. Maybe if it's a family, because there are private funders which are private. What do they call them? Private foundations.
Okay.
That are like a family foundation.
Okay, that
It's
makes
money
sense.
coming from one particular family,
Mhm.
so they can say we just give you this much
Certain
this
amount.
year,
Okay.
and then next year they can go give to somebody else, and then the following year they give to somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, but places like Walmart or maybe the Rotary clubs, you can apply every year, and if they support your mission, your vision, they can. If they see it fit, they can give you year after year after year,
Okay.
or maybe every other year. And there are also some what they call in-kind donations. Instead of people donating money, they can donate services. So, like let's say you can donate a computer
Okay.
that the girls
okay.
can be using, or if you are a lawyer, you can donate your expertise
Your
in law.
services.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you can donate in so many different ways. Besides monetary donations.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Yeah.
Any question?
Yeah. What has your nonprofit accomplished up to this point?
From 2010 up to
Mhm.
this day,
Mhm.
wow, I've accomplished a lot, and I'm really happy for when I look back 10 years ago up to now. I feel very good and I feel happy. I would say for my American girls, I have taught so many people etiquette, and I've had people come back to me and say, "Oh, thank you for teaching me how to sit right. Thank you for teaching me
So
how
is my
to."
posture bad?
Yeah.
I know. I'm looking at you.
I know. I'm
I'm
trying
like,
to work on
You
it.
can't be sitting
I
with your
need to-
hands
I
on
need
the
to go to
on the
class.
tables
My
like
bad.
that. I've had people coming, thanking me for that.
like,
Her posture's really well.
yeah, I know. She's like,
Yeah, it's supposed
I
to
need
sit
to-
up and head up and don't put your head down. So people come back and tell me, even families, because sometimes because since I started, we touched a lot of different topics. Sometimes we'll talk to the girls about how to deal with bullying in school, how to deal with boys, like young girls that are going into teenage phases. We talk about a lot of different things. So they'll come back and say, "Oh, thank you. I was able to deal with somebody who was bullying me at school
Okay.
for this and that, but I was able to, handle that, because of."
Perspective way.
Yeah. And in Zimbabwe, with what I do in Zimbabwe, I mean, that's even more. I mean, I can't even explain how happy I am with what's going on, because I also help single mothers in Zimbabwe that are also sending their girls to school and their
Okay,
children
wow.
putting. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've had women coming to me and said, because of you helping me with my small business, I'm able to send my kids to school.
Wow.
I had a woman who came to me and said, my daughter just graduated from college because of the small business that she started through our organization. Yeah. And I have also one woman. She started, I think it was like 2015, somewhere there, and she started with nothing. We helped her with a sewing machine to start sewing. She likes sewing, and she kept sewing and selling stuff, and was able to buy 3 extra machines from where she started with one. And now, instead of sewing in her house, she was able to go and rent a place in town where she can have a sewing room, and she's also able to hire other people, other women as well. So not only she was empowered, she's also empowering other women. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I have girls that are finished with school, they are working now, and some girls will come to me and say, "Oh, Miss B, how can we thank you for what you did for us?" And then I go back to that woman who hosted me when I was, going to college here, who said, "Don't thank me, just help somebody else."
Just continue.
So when
Yeah.
they come to me and ask me that, I just tell them the same thing. Don't worry about it. If you are, when you are settled and you are working, just pick up somebody else and help
Okay.
that person and
So build
continue
other.
on. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Plant the seed
So
other
that,
places.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, so within the 10 years that you've been doing this, so can you tell me how many individuals do you think that you've helped?
Okay, so what I do in Courtsville, I teach etiquette. So each summer is a different class.
Okay.
And because it's different levels of etiquette that we teach.
Okay.
So if you take it this year, next year you are not taking the same class.
Okay.
You might be taking the next level.
Okay.
And we keep, going up and up
How many
according
levels
to
is
their. We have 3 levels up to 17 years, and then after that we have a young women's leadership course that we have,
Okay.
which anybody that's 18 and above can take. And we have so many different programs, so they can come back and take those classes. So from when I started, each year we impact more than about 50 girls and young women. So each year is about 50, and the number keeps
50
growing.
or 15?
50.
50.
What
Wow.
per summer for 1 year.
Okay.
So I'll say for the past 10 years is way more than 300 people.
Okay.
And in
Wow.
Zimbabwe,
That's awesome.
I started with a group of 25 girls that I started with from junior high.
Okay.
And then in Zimbabwe we just limit the number because of the limited funds, but
Okay.
otherwise it's a big number of vulnerable girls that are able to come to this program, but because of the limited funds that we have, we just limit the number. But every year I add on a few girls. So I
Okay.
started with 25 girls. The following year I had 5 more coming on. And
Okay.
then I keep adding and I keep adding
Keep
and keep
adding.
adding. Yeah. So now some of the ones that I started with in junior high, they are already done. They graduated high school. They finished upper high school.
Okay.
Now they are going
The leaders.
to attending colleges.
Okay.
Some went to technical schools. They are working now. They went to school for cooking, culinary school. Some
Okay.
went to teachers training colleges. Some went to nursing schools.
Okay, awesome.
So, but some went to 4-year colleges. And so right now I have for this year, August, I have 3 that are scheduled to attend college in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're orphans as well, or?
Most of them are orphans.
Wow.
All of them are orphans.
Okay.
But some might have a mom, maybe dad is not there anymore.
Okay. So
Yeah.
single moms.
Yeah.
Some? Okay.
Yeah. That's why I also focus with single moms, because they are raising their children by
their kids.
themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So with the moms, what I do is we start small businesses. Might
Okay.
give them a small loan, could be $100 to buy 50
Within
chickens,
you. Mhm.
and then they raise them. The chickens, yeah, and then what a chicken can do for somebody, you'll be surprised.
Wow.
Yeah, so they will raise these chickens, they lay eggs, and then they sell the eggs, or once they are done laying the eggs, because they lay the eggs for a year.
Mhm.
After
Oh.
a year's
A
period,
year?
yeah,
Wow.
they will be laying eggs every day.
Wow.
Yeah, so they'll
wow.
be selling these eggs
Constantly.
that's constant
Okay.
every day. Yeah, they will
Okay,
be
that's a good
selling.
way of-
Yeah, it's a good.
That's a nice
yeah.
hustle.
That's a good,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then after they are done laying the eggs, they will sell the chickens for people to have dinner. And sometimes
Hey.
some small businesses, for example, these bracelets that I'm wearing, I sponsored one woman to start this business.
Okay.
So she's doing that. So we give them, I think I gave her $50 for her to start with this.
Mhm.
But now she kept multiplying.
doing it.
And she's doing it, and
Okay.
she's sending her
Yeah.
kids to
Awesome.
school. Yeah. So it's a small amount to us here, but over there, it can put food on
Impacts.
somebody's table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and what communities have you helped besides just Westchester and people in Zimbabwe? Have you collaborated outside of there with other people?
Not outside of Chester County,
Okay.
Lancaster County. I
Okay,
have
awesome.
people.
Lancaster County as
Yeah,
well?
Oh, okay.
yeah. I work with another group in Lancaster County, and I also I do churches, but they're mostly in Chester County.
Mhm.
Okay.
I go and teach etiquette, like their youth groups. I go and do like an etiquette workshop, or go to churches, do a presentation. I do tea as well. I'm like a tea expert kind of. Yeah. So sometimes people will call me to come in to come and do like a tea presentation where I'll teach them the tea etiquettes, everything from starting pouring your tea up to drinking it and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's mostly
okay.
Chester County, Lancaster County, and then Zimbabwe. But Zimbabwe I usually focus with the rural areas.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But in the city, sometimes people will call me to come and do like an etiquette workshop, and I go and do that.
That's pretty amazing.
That's good.
Yeah.
So besides, the less fortunate and the single women in Zimbabwe, what inspires you overall? What keeps you going with the nonprofit? What inspires you to continue to help women and teens and just
what keeps me going, because what I see, the results of what I do, is inspired. Many times, especially with the etiquette workshops, sometimes the teen, especially the teenage girls, like with the preteens, when they are in class, they'll be like, they don't want to listen. They are on their phone. They're doing stuff. So many times I'm like, why am I doing this? This is the last year I'm doing this. Next year I'm not doing this. But I end up seeing myself doing it again. So they just inspire me, because at the end of all that, you see that you are impacting them. You are impacting their families.
Okay.
right?
So to me, I cannot stop. I just have to keep going. Yeah, because the results that I see, it's worth
It's worth it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
worth it. It's worth me continuing and keep doing it.
Okay, so what are your goals for the organization this year?
To keep going and to collaborate more with other organizations, to partner with people that are supporting my mission, to do more fundraising events and get more funds to fund the programs. I have a lot of goals for this year, for 2020. 2020 is like my year for expansion.
2020
Expansion.
Yeah, growing bigger.
Growing.
Yeah, yeah.
So where's your business located? Do you have a specific website?
I have a website for my nonprofit organization. It's because I teach etiquette, so my etiquette piece of it is called Minding Manners with Miss B.
Okay.
So my website is mindingmannerswithmissb.com.
Okay.
So people, you can www.mindingmannerswithmissb, and Miss is just MS.
Okay.
Dot.
And I'll put that in the bio as well.
Okay.
When we post it.
So people can go there. They can. I also have a Facebook page.
Okay.
That has. I have Minding Manners with Miss B page on my Facebook page, and I also have AAYLF, which stands for American and African Youth Leadership Foundation. I have a page for that where I keep people updated with what's going on in Zimbabwe.
Oh,
With the
Oh,
girls
with
in
Zimbabwe as
awesome.
well. Okay. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And sometimes I post pictures there for people to see the girls that I'm working with,
Okay.
or the women. I need to but I keep people updated with that.
Do you have a date specifically for the etiquette class for this year, or are you still working on that?
I'm still working on it, but it's gonna be July. It's going to be on a Thursday, because I usually do them at the library, Coastville Library.
Okay.
We have I collaborated with the library.
The library? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So we do our programs at the Coastville Library. So on Thursdays they open later. So my classes start at 4:00 to 6.
Okay.
So I give people, like parents who are dropping the kids, they are coming from work. So we start at 4:00 to 6, because the library closes at I think 8:00 on Thursdays, because other days they close early. So I can't have the classes
Early,
at 3:00
right.
because the parents are still at work. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
ages for the etiquette for the first one? What's the age range?
We start at age 5. They
Age
can be
5?
as little as
Oh, wow.
5, yeah. But we
You gotta have patience for
categorize
that.
them in different
I know. I'm looking at her like, wow.
Yeah, age 5. So we have 3 different groups. So from 5 to 7, that's
Okay.
one group. And then from 8 to 9 or 10, that's
Okay.
another group. And then 11 or 12 to 13, that's
Okay.
another group. And then 13 up to 17, that's a teen leadership.
Team leadership.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So we group them like that in ages because the 5-year-olds and 7-year-olds, they're too little to learn some of the things that
Right.
the
That's
12-year-olds are learning.
understandable.
So
Yeah.
we'll be breaking them up like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what information does parents need in order to sign them up, or how do they go by getting their daughters in the
They
etiquette
can
class?
inbox me, they can call me. My information is on Facebook. And I post on Facebook that registration is open, and then I send my number. I can give my number out because it's my business number, so I can give it to people now.
Okay.
Which is 484-356-8935. You can call me, you can inbox me on Facebook to say you have a 5-year-old, you have a 12-year-old, and we are doing boys as well.
Oh,
So
boys come
yes,
there too?
Oh,
yes. Starting
nice.
last year, 2018, we included boys because one parent came to me one time and said, okay, you are teaching the girls etiquette. What about the boys? Which makes sense because you're teaching the girls how the boys should treat them, but then you are not teaching the boy
Boys
how
how
to
to
treat
treat the
the
woman.
girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep,
So
I
we said
agree.
that makes
That's
sense.
awesome.
So now we are teaching boys as well. And boys will be focusing on things like chivalry, like how they can escort
Oh.
a woman to a chair, or how to open a door for a woman, for a lady, things like that. What boys need to know.
Right.
That sounds really amazing.
Yeah,
That-
and we
and
do
especially if
practice too.
Yes, and then
We
you're
do
teaching them
practice.
young, especially
Yeah.
at the age of 5.
Give them
Yes.
that
They'll
foundation
grow.
that they need.
Yeah, you're giving them that
Yes,
foundation.
yes,
So when
yes,
they get
yes.
older, they already
They
know how
already
to
know.
treat a
They
woman.
already know.
Yeah,
And the
that's
woman
awesome.
already know
How she's
a
supposed to be treated.
Yes.
That's right. It
Yeah.
shows the self-love
And
as
when
well.
I do my events as well, I try to get the girls and the boys to participate as much as possible using the etiquette skills they learned. For example, boys, when I'm having events, I have boys escort the women.
Escort the women.
Let's say I have a panel of speakers, they will be escorting the speakers to their table,
Okay.
or escorting people and pull chairs out for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're practicing, and they love doing that. And I love seeing them in tuxedos and bow ties and
All dressed up,
all
pimped
dressed
out.
up. Yeah. Yeah. And women, I mean, we still love to get that treatment from our gentlemen. So
Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming events?
I
for-
have an upcoming event.
Okay.
This is March, which is Women's History Month.
Whoop, whoop.
So we have an event scheduled for March 21. However, with all this going on, it's still scheduled. But
with the
with the
coronavirus.
coronavirus, we don't know. But we'll make a decision tomorrow, Friday.
Okay.
But we have a very good event scheduled for March 21, Women's History Month. But we're just keeping our fingers crossed that we can still continue with it. And but at the same time, we want people to be safe,
Right.
and to be cautious and all that with everything going on. So we'll just wait. We'll see what we come up with tomorrow.
Now, if you do continue to have the event, what is the event for the Women's History event for the 21st, if we have it?
If we have it, yeah. So women are going to get together. We are honoring women and girls from Chester County, Lancaster County, and other counties, surrounding counties. So we selected a group of women. We have 8 women that are doing extraordinary work in the community. They are doing, they are advocates, they are inspirational people, they are advocates, they are all kinds of, they are doing a lot of good things in the community, but the majority of the people we don't know.
Okay.
So we're just going to put them on the spotlight,
Highlight.
highlight them,
Okay.
and have people know what they are doing in the community. And when they see them out at the grocery store, they'll be like, congratulations for what you are doing. And then I have 2 girls that are going to be honored at this event. They are very young girls. They are also graduates of Minding Manners with Miss B. They took the classes. They did very well. So one of them, she's only, I think, 11, and she's an entrepreneur. She has her own business.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow,
I
so
mean, at
young.
age
That's
11,
amazing.
she's a boss, So
She's a boss.
Get it, girl.
yeah,
Shout out.
yeah. Shout out. And then the other girl, she is into sports. She's an athlete. She is a cheerleader. She's just amazing. So she's going to be honored for what she does for the community and for the state actually, because she holds like a, you know, something under the state of Pennsylvania, and she's only 10, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah,
Yes.
so she's like a role model for other little girls out there.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jenny, did you have any other questions?
No.
Did you want to add anything before we ask our final question and go into any questions from the viewers?
Okay. I'm just saying, non-profits are, you know, something really good to do, because you are there to help people
Mm-hmm.
or animals or whatever, you know, whatever. Non-profit, they're there to help. They're doing a service to somebody, something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to start a non-profit organization, and you can also make your non-profit organization a for-profit organization. That's like maybe another podcast there.
Okay.
But it's not scary. It's actually good. It's very fulfilling, and you know, we need non-profit organizations out there. So it's, you know, if it's something that you are passionate about, you know, just go for it, try it, and don't be afraid to reach out to other people that are maybe doing the same thing or something similar, or just ask questions how you can go by doing that. It's good. It's a good thing.
That's good. That's
Okay.
good. Is there any questions up there? Let me see. I think we have the question. How do I go up?
But I'm looking for people to partner with. If you want to partner, my other goal for next year, 2021, is to get a
We have a
group of
question.
people to go to Zimbabwe with me and do a workshop there. So,
We have a question.
Okay.
Someone's asking, what's your thoughts on fiscal partnership?
like annual fiscal.
I don't know. It just says fiscal partnership. What is that? I don't know what fiscal partnership is.
Like a fiscal, financial fiscal. Maybe if she can be specific what she's talking about.
I don't know if she's still on there.
Okay.
Dara, are you still there? She just said partnership.
For
The
non-profit
fiscal.
organization, yeah, you can partner with someone. Like I was saying, that's like collaboration.
Mhm.
If you have the same mission, the same vision, if you are, or if even if it's different, you can combine your thoughts and make it one. So I think it can still work. Non-profit organization to be like a partnership. It can still
Okay.
work. Yeah, it can still work. You can do that.
And what was the reason you went nonprofit versus going LLC?
I went non-profit because of the advantage of being able to solicit donations.
Okay.
Yeah, and being able to be tax exempt.
Mm-hmm.
Although it's not a lot, but sometimes when you pay that tax, let's say I'm buying stuff for the event, and the money that you pay for taxes, you know, is sometimes it adds up. And for people to donate to you, if you are tax exempt, they also, let's say you donate $1,000 to me, you can write it off for your taxes. So it also gives the donor an advantage.
Advantage to
Yeah.
help the
Okay.
nonprofit
To
as
help
well.
the non-profit, yeah. Versus if you are LSE, you cannot solicit donations.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So how does that work with the business when taking care of? How does that work with the nonprofit with the business side of taxes? So you would just write it off if someone gives you the donation, and you would just show where it actually went.
Like if
how does
somebody
that work?
gives me a donation, I give them a thank you letter with my tax ID number on it, and then I
Okay.
give it to you. I say thank you for your $1,000, and then when you do your taxes, that's your receipts.
Okay.
For, you know, it's like however you keep your
Distributed.
receipts for the
Okay.
other whatever other on your so my letter from my non-profit organization, that would be your receipt, and then you write it off, and then you do your taxes.
Okay.
But for me, I will say I received $1,000 from this person, and then I put it down on my taxes as well.
Okay.
That will show how much I received from different people
Okay.
or other organizations as well.
That makes sense. What? Okay. So before we actually close up, there is one question that we typically ask all our guest speakers. So, what makes you uncommon?
Oh, wow! What makes me uncommon?
What makes you you?
I think the way I like working with girls, I want to make it. I make it a relationship. Like all the girls that I work with, whether here or in Zimbabwe, I work with them, but they are like my kids.
You build a relationship.
I build a relationship.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
that's
like
important.
somebody that I work with and then after they are done, I forget about them. I still think about the first class that I had since 2010, and I still communicate with them. So that, I guess that will make me uncommon, because I really feel close to them, and I want to keep that relationship.
So you have a lot of children.
I have a lot of children. Yeah, they actually, the ones in Zimbabwe, they call me mom.
Aw,
They call me mom.
Aww.
Yeah, and I always tell people that I have 2 kids, but I have a whole bunch of kids. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good way to, look at it.
Yeah.
You build
Yeah.
relationships with them, and,
Yeah.
and that's like that respect and that.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
I don't stop, even if sometimes I'll be like, maybe I need to stop, and then I think about them. I just have to keep going. I don't say, last year was not a good year, so I'm not doing it this year. I just keep on going. Each year is different.
Yeah.
So you don't focus on the past. You just focus
No,
on
I
what's
don't
now.
focus on the past most of the
That
time.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I focus on the good. Even when I work with the kids, especially the ones in Zimbabwe as well, somebody might come to me and say, this girl is like this, like this, like this. I don't look at that. I just look at that person and see what I can do with her from there, from the time I met her. Because sometimes if somebody comes to you and say, she was this before, and then you prejudge her by
Right,
that,
right.
Yeah.
you cannot work
don't
with that
focus on that.
person. And most of the time when I do that, just not listen to the past of whatever she did, I'm able to work with the person and be successful with what I'm doing with her.
Right.
Yeah.
And you focus on her,
Yeah.
as a person, not
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
she's been
And we build
judged
relationships.
by.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she might build a different relationship
Yeah,
with you. You might
yeah,
change
and
it.
I always find something good on everybody. I find something they can say, she did 20,000 things bad, but there is something good that she
Right.
did. So
Yeah. And I think,
yeah, so I
And that
focus on
uplifts her,
that.
too.
yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. That's so
Yeah.
great.
so
okay.
I guess that makes
Yeah.
me uncommon.
Anyways, Bongai,
Yes.
it's so amazing to have you here. And
Thank
you know,
Thank you
I know,
very
thank
much.
you for
This
coming out,
this
guys.
was very nice, and thank you, Uncommon Women, for having me today.
With your
Thank you so much. I
knowledge.
really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
all right. Thank you for tuning in to Uncommon Women. The recording will be posted on several search engines besides our webpage, iTunes, Google Play, Listen Notes, Podcaster, and Podchaser. We also will be listed on YouTube shortly. We are looking to do more outreaches and events. Any recommendations, email us, share, and follow us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook.
Yeah, you can find us on IG under Uncommon 3 Women, as well as Twitter. For those of you that's listening in on IG, you can follow us on Facebook under Uncommon Women. We typically also post daily blogs, something positive to start your day or to end your day if you're going through something, whether it's relationships, success, or things in regards to work. For those that are just tuning in and not sure what Uncommon Women is about, we give people a platform to educate and uplift others. We also we have other episodes that give people the trials and tribulations of what they go through to actually give them a platform to talk about that. So right now we're just speaking on education. This month is about businesses, so we have a nonprofit that was speaking today, and then in a couple of weeks we actually have another guest speaker that started his own business. He'll be coming out. He's making 6 figures, so he'll be talking about how he started his business and where he's at and what he's done. Same thing we talked about today. So yeah, we have a lot of interesting things planned for this year, for 2020. All about success and uplifting people.
Yes.
Thank you again for tuning in, guys, and everyone, stay uncommon.
Uncommon.
Okay. Wow.
Go ahead and end it.
Wow. So that's